Hi everyone, my name is Oumou and I'm originally from Senegal. I am currently based in Berlin and I will be presenting my project Spot is for Everyone in the next 15 minutes. And to that, I just want to start by sharing a little small reflection just to get started. And it is that I want to be able to hear stories about sports that have nothing to do with selling products because too often sport media is tied to brand campaigns, to performance metric and marketing narrative. And so the project I've been creating with in the Creative Synergies program, Sport is for Everyone, exists because I believe that other kind of stories deserve space as well. So about myself, I am a trained photographer. I've studied art and design, and I'm also an athlete. I started my artistic journey, let's say, through photography, and it was always a really wonderful medium and craft, but over time, I just felt like it wasn't enough for me and it wasn't really making enough space for all the projects I've had. And so my practice is at the moment very focused on life experiences because I believe that in the society in which we live today, life experiences have a very strong power and a lot of strength that it put on our shoulders in order to help us move forward. I've been doing a lot of collaborations and research work. I've done various fellowships and worked also for other artists. And I am also, yeah, an athlete. I forgot to say that. Yeah, I've done a lot of competitions as well, and I think all of this is what has been shaping me today and as a person that's in this program and led me, let's say, to my calling with starting Sport is for Everyone. I've been very interested on topics of history and representation. So I'll say Black non-binary being living in Germany and coming from Senegal. I feel like there's, yeah, very strong disconnect and oftentimes a lot of alienation that I feel on the day to day. And for me to go on the path of sport, it takes quite a lot. And it's a lot of questioning that I've been asking myself. So here's just a little visual on a new project I'm doing on parallel. Basically, it's just part of the visual research I also do for Sport is for Everyone to understand a little bit more history and advertisements as well. And yeah, sports and how the body work. So my mediums of working is photography. So I enjoy yeah, I enjoy still working with the camera. I've been documenting more and more bodies and sports spaces. I'm also using video and sound, and I've also done a film, which you can see here below, exhibited in a space in London. On the right, you can see, yeah, various photography and portraits I've done with medium format. And yeah, I'm also using text, so research, essays, and editorial work. And all of this is really what has led me to Sports is for Everyone. And I've been working on this question quite a lot. And the thing is, sport is for everyone, but also it is not for everyone because the way society is working is that sport and movement, which I've been using interchangeably sometimes, is so much shaped by access, by money, by time. We often take certain things for granted, but society has moved so much further away from being outside in nature and having playfulness to just having these sedentary life in the cities and locked away from more socialness and just community. And so, Sport is for Everyone is a transdisciplinary platform that uses bodies, movement, and collaboration to explore inclusion, embodiment, and also social dynamics in sports. And so, the social context from which this project is coming from is going through, there's so many different ways, but I'm using here just these example where from the left to the right we can see historic gender exclusion. So in running and in marathon, there's been, yeah, historic women have been historically kept away from participating in sports. So there were myths about, women's uteruses will fall if they participate in sport or if they go running, which is absolutely nonsense. And on this image, we can see Catherine Switzer being attacked at the 1967 Boston Marathon. And this has been a very historical moment for running because it really helped um, show how women and gender diverse people were being excluded from running. And it led on an example and created a movement that goes on until today. And in the middle, we can see, two images, one that is about trans people being in sports, and the bottom part is about a cisgender woman being transvestigated because now that the topic of exclusion of trans beings is brought to the public, is also pushing to the extreme, which is what I'm calling here hyperregulation. And on the right side, we have an image of Sha'Carri Richardson, who have won various races, but have also become this symbol of celebrity, where then athlete can no longer just be athlete. They are now symbols and they are seen as a celebrity, and they are being investigated and having their private life and put into the public for public consumption. And so this image to me is like showing how, women bodies, also black bodies, are now also pushed into these hyper regulation spaces where there's misogynoir, there's a hyper visibility, there's a control, there's a need for spectacle somehow, there's a need for the world to start, creating a new narrative now that we can be included somehow. The other context that is part of, the existence or the creation of sport is for everyone is the economic and the institutional context. So there's this saying that goes, if it's not on Strava, it didn't happen. And Strava is an app that is used to share data and used by people to share, their run. And just a couple days ago, there was some news online about some special French military flight have been, their location has been seen because one person in that vehicle so went out for a run and came back, and so it's also used for surveillance. And I'm totally against all of this data, but also I think this economic and institutional context is like super tied to capitalism, and these symbols of who's going to the Olympic are being tattooed on so many athletes' bodies. And there's also more and more, there's actually less and less spaces and races where they are not swamped with advertising images. And I feel like it's really hard sometimes to talk about sport and talk about movement without necessarily having so much about economic and institutional value just like tied to it. And so my approach with sport is for everyone is one side is artistic, so using photography, using film, using visual storytelling to reshape the visual representation of sport and to foreground more inclusion, more embodiment, and also diverse lived realities. And with that, I would like to invite for conversation, invite for discourse, and be hosting talks and interviews and having more public dialogue that explore sport as a social and also a political space. And to not come empty-handed, there's also a lot of research and situated engagement. So trying to make all of this knowledge that I'd like to be, gathering through this transdisciplinary practice and bridge this academic inquiry with embodied practices such as activations, hikes, walks, napping together, playing together, just a lot of different ideas to bring people together and create relational and context-specific experiences of sports. And so the platform you can see here, there will be obviously a few little edits before it's published on April 1st. But roughly, I would like people on the platform to be able to, one, explore knowledge, explore yeah, art, so be it films, visual essays, and so on. Explore field interviews, explore various ideas. So there's also a part in the platform called Listening Across Borders, where I'm also inviting people and clubs who are living around the globe and not necessarily in Berlin to also create a discourse that is also international and that is collaborative, and not to have this Western base or westernized POV that we want to put into the world, but really to create a conversation where everyone is invited also to co-create what it is. Is sport for everyone? Sport is for everyone. Is it not? How could it be? How can we explore that? And I think for this reason, I want to practice what we preach. And so there's also a database on the website, and I think having this database is also another testimony of like what I've just said about listening across borders and so on. So we have a database that's been created by Dean Schaff, who's been supporting me with the project as well. And so he's built this side of the platform where one can search for clubs and organizations, but also project by location, by name, by sports. And so we have tags such as environmental, outdoor focus, we have BIPOC led, we have Black women focus, but there's also disability features. And I hope that we will be able to also grow these tags as the platform grows. And so on the platform, we also have these interviews that we are doing mostly with people who are in underrepresented communities, but also friends and collaborators based in Berlin, but also anywhere that I will have the chance to go. And on this page, for example, we have Coach Eliza, who is a coach who works principally with Flintas, so femme, lesbian, intersex, trans, and non-binary beings through her coaching practices. And so we did photography and also a video. So the longer form will be on our platform. And we also have a shorter form in the interview, and on this as on the screen you can see a little small one where the question was, what would you tell to someone who's too scared to go to the gym? And so the questions that I ask our collaborators for these interviews is really depending on who they are, their practice, what they are doing, and also what they feel comfortable sharing, and how they feel like approaching what it is to say that sport is for everyone, on that, or that it's not. And what is next? So next on the platform, we hope to start soon our panel talks, but also our hikes. So currently we have just launched for April for our launch. We have two hikes, and one is at the mountains in Dresden, and it's also reachable with the regional train from Berlin. And the other is another hike and a workshop at the a workshop at the beach in Usedom, which is also reachable by regional train from Berlin, to enjoy just rest and the exploration of rest. And yeah, and we for the panel talk we have a couple that are planned, but the dates are to be announced. The first one would be with a professional trail runner who's also working as a psychiatrist, and the other one will be with a competitive pole dancer who's a neuroscientist. And so I'll be inviting them to have a conversation around practices of care and moving oneself. And hopefully in the future there'll be much more, such as published researchers and also essays. but also just more of this conversation and personal gathering. But also ultimately, I hope we can start with some publications and an exhibition, but that will come with time, slowly, slowly. And in the meantime, you are very welcome to reach out to me by email. You're also welcome to check us out on social media. So, Sport is for Everyone with a one, as seen on the page here. And the website is Sport is for Everyone. It's going to be public on April 1st. But in the meanwhile, if you'd like to see it, the password is cheeseburger written without cap. Which I thought it would be is a funny way to also talk about movement and sport by just being honest and staying playful. Thank you so much.